What's going on, UCGC? Let's strap in for a nice single awareness month today on the UCGC podcast.
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Valentine's Day.
Bunch of gamers in a gaming room.
Bunch of gamers, dude. I don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend. I ain't gonna disclose my sexuality.
Not me. But
I
our friend over here.
I do have a girlfriend.
He is the literal Chad of all of us.
He is a Chad.
He's a
God.
Chad.
I swear to God, if I hear that joke one more time.
Oh, dude, you're gonna hear it.
I hear it
until you
literally
graduate
every
from me,
single
at
day.
least. I'm gonna keep it up.
You know
When I-
what? Honestly, I appreciate it.
When I first
I
interviewed
appreciate
you, and when you said your name was Chad, I was like, "Is that a nickname?" You're like, "No, it's my real name." I was just like, "Okay."
Is that a nickname?
Well,
yeah,
here's the
people
thing.
call me
me
Chad because fuck
I'm a
bitches,
Chad.
get money.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, well, here's the thing. My dad wanted to name me Chadwick.
Ew.
If that's any
That's
better.
a sick name. What are you talking
I
about?
mean, like, yes, but also no.
Why?
Well, no, that
you
was
would get
okay.
bullied in
It
like,
was
elementary school for
either
that kind of name.
Chadwick, Chad, or Jake, and they decided on
Jake's
Chad.
not a bad name.
Jake's not horrible.
Jake's not bad.
It's
Dude,
not the
Chadwick's
worst.
not bad either. You guys were like, Chadwick.
just like-
Chadwick's like some ancient, like, awesome
I mean-
17th century name.
Chadwick is
guess-
probably some like Victorian
Okay,
kind
That's
of
but
what
I
I'm
have,
saying.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
met
yeah.
a.
It's like, it's badass.
Here's the thing. I have met another Chad who spelled his name with 2 D's.
That's kind of
The whole
stupid.
time.
That's
It's like,
stupid.
Whenever I interacted
To
with
that
that guy,
Chad out there, you're stupid.
No, the entire time I was interacting with that guy on any type of basis, the whole, like, in the back of my head, I was just like, you are clearly compensating for something. If you need the extra D in the name Chad.
It's like
Oh my
Dredd.
God.
He's like,
It's
I
like
want to
Dredd,
be
yeah.
like Judge
It's
Dredd,
Dredd.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like my name's Chad, so I
I'm
guess I'll
Sylvester
add a
Stallone.
D at the end.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Oh man, that's so stupid.
All right. Besides that fact, Pokemon Home came out, and I've been using that a lot actually.
Yeah, me and Chad have been using the basic version.
Yeah.
We'll start with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll start
we'll
with the basic
start with
version
basic
first.
So I've been using the basic version mainly to just delete all my shiny hunted Pokemon.
Right.
Yes.
So that's why I'm happy with it. I don't want to purchase the premium yet because I want to wait till
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield has the 200 more Pokemon in the game.
That'll
Plus
be
all the
with-
legendaries.
That'll be with the expansion, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
once
okay.
the final expansion comes out, that's probably when I'll buy
Yep.
Pokemon Home. But I'd probably have to rebuy Pokemon
Yeah.
Bank as well.
Yeah.
Because I think my subscription for Pokemon Bank ends around July, August.
Ooh,
Yeah.
All right.
So-
So,
I
mean,
was-
you'll have it for the school year at the very least.
Yeah,
that's
that's
all
fine.
set up.
Yeah.
But I like it so far. I mean, it's the basic version.
Yep.
I've just been moving Pokemon out of Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
And mostly just Pokemon that I kind of want to get out of the way because most Pokemon that I have in the game are from Pokemon Go. So like, it was yesterday
Yeah.
that I was trying to recatch a Moltres in the thing.
Really?
So I
Yeah.
transferred a Moltres from
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, and it's like, I have to recatch this. Like I felt that was so stupid.
Yeah.
But that's a side point.
Well, the
but
thing
like,
is that like you'll have like classic Moltres as opposed to like the new Moltres that's coming out. Like, have they made it?
Well,
yeah.
no. Well, what you're talking about is like you have to recapture it. But what my point is that don't you own like Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon?
yeah, I already
Oh, okay.
have. I already
You
have
coulda-
all legendaries in Sun and Moon.
Yeah, like that's what I did.
Okay.
I kind of said like, all right, I'll just take it, just to get like trade fodder if I need to, and then I just went back to Ultra Sun and be like, okay, I'm gonna catch all the things I need to get there, and then
Yeah,
trade.
so
because
do
I
you
already
wanna-
I already have like multiples of everything kind of.
Yeah.
Because I stopped buying both games after Black and White.
Yeah.
So I bought one Black 2, one Sun, one X, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
one Ultra Sun, and that was fine. I should have mixed the versions up there, but
That's
it's just
fine.
I was
even
in middle
if it
school.
doesn't matter.
But Davis, do you want to talk a little more about
The
the
beta version?
premium version of Pokemon Home?
Yeah, so my Pokemon Bank ran out like the month before. So I was like, free month. All right, I'm just gonna pay $15 to transfer everything and then done. Because I think that's a lot more easier for me to just kind of like transfer everything over to the new one to like, just get the free month, so I don't have to pay $5 plus another
Yeah.
15. So I think that if you have the Pokemon Bank and then you want to transfer everything over, pay the $15 now, and then that's fine because you're gonna be sitting on it anyways a year, too. So like you're gonna be having it until like the next year, so you have time to like kind of say, like, oh, I have all this and this, and then if you download the Pokemon Home app on your phone, you could like favorite your favorite like mons and be like, oh, anytime you swipe between pages and go back to your main page, it switches between Pokemon. So like you see like, oh, here I have a Reshiram, or I have Kyurem, or I have like something else on my main screen, and it doesn't get too stale.
Yeah.
Other than that, the Pokedex functions are semi-limited in the sense that you can't filter by Pokedex in the home app for on the iOS.
Yeah, so like I noticed this yesterday. Like it is a completely different experience using Pokemon Home on your Switch
than
versus
it is
on your phone.
And the way it works on the phone is that you only could use GCS and Wonder Trade on the phone, which I think is okay. You're pushing for more kind of consistency and collaboration between devices. I like that, but it kind of takes away from the point of kind of depositing one having just if you don't own like a decent phone or like you don't want to use your phone for that kind of thing. Then use it. You want to have that accessibility within the original Pokemon Home app on your Switch.
Yeah, that's what I was like thinking because like I'm going between my Switch. Yeah. I was like getting frustrated because I was like, okay, I have to because I was looking at I like Greninja, it's my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find a shiny version through the GTS because people do actually trade a lot of shiny Pokemon.
They do trade shiny Pokemon,
regardless if it's for the meme. Like a lot of them do, like, oh, I want a Jirachi for.
I want a level 1 to 10 Jirachi. Yeah,
but it's like I downloaded it. I was just like I saw like a Pokemon that I could trade through it, and I was like, okay, cool. I was on the app. I was on my phone. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have any Pokemon on my app. Let me go do it on my Switch. And I was like going through the Switch, and I was like, okay, so I put my Pokemon in. Where do I go to just do it on here?
Yeah.
It kind of felt like this. It was one of the pitfalls from Destiny, where it was like the Grimoire cards were like, oh, here's the Grimoire card, but you can't read it in the game. You have to go online. It's like it's taking you out of the experience of going between.
Like
so
having
many
to bounce
devices.
around between,
well,
having to bounce around between two different devices isn't bad in my opinion. It's just like when it gets to that point where you're bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the whole time just to like get the full experience. That's when I feel like it starts to have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And like my experience with Pokemon Home so far has been pretty minimal. Like, I think I chose Squirtle as the free starter, and then I put my free Pikachu up for trade.
Nice.
For like, I think I put it for like a Dino or whatever, because like Hydreigon, just awesome Pokemon. But yeah, like my experience so far, it's been pretty clean for me. I haven't like gotten too much into like using it with the Switch at the same time, but it does have a few parts of it where I think it's a little clunky. Like the interface itself isn't the most clean in my opinion.
Yeah, the GTS screen is kind of
it's
just not super intuitive. But one of the things I do like is that when you do look for Pokemon that like you want to trade, it does tell you whether or not it can go in all. Well, no, not even just that. Like whether or not it's Pokemon that you can put in all Pokemon games, or if it's like
just X,
like,
Y, that kind of stuff.
That type of thing. Because like in Sword and Shield, obviously not all the Pokemon yet.
Yeah,
we're waiting for the expansions, so it'll tell you, hey, like this Pokemon can't go into Sword and Shield, but it can go into all these other ones, which I think was just a really nice touch.
It's a really nice touch. Yeah, but you can't transfer any of the home back to bank.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like, if you're going to transfer everything over, you're going to either want to wait till the expansions come out or just save them and get the free month.
I mean, yeah, it kind of comes down to the question, like, for me, the reason why I want to get all my Pokemon out of, like, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu is because I'd like to start farming for the shiny legendaries and shiny Mewtwo. Same thing with my Ultra Sun. I'd like to start farming in the easier ways for the shiny Pokemon, especially the shiny legendaries in those games. But like you were saying, it's gonna be a lot harder for me if I trade because especially in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you have to have for example, if you want Rayquaza, you need Groudon
and Kyogre.
And only Sun gives you Kyogre and Moon gives you So,
Either
no,
or,
sorry.
either
I think
or.
it's the other
You can only
way.
get one
Yeah.
inside the version,
It's
which is
one
fine.
basic.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing with every Pokemon like that. Palkia, Dialga, if you want to get
Giratina,
need
you
both
gotta
in the
use
game.
both, which
Yeah.
is
So-
which is fun. Like that's a nice kind of like nod to like, oh, it kind of brings you back to like, oh, these old legendaries, like you need one to get the other.
No, but yeah, like if I transferred all my Pokemon from my Ultra Sun
Yeah.
into Pokemon Home,
Yeah.
it's
You want to be
gone.
able to do it, yeah.
I'd have to keep it in Pokemon Bank.
Yeah.
Which at that point, like you were saying, I'd have to then spend an extra $5
$5,
if I
yeah.
keep if I forget that I need to renew the
subscription.
the subscription
Yeah.
before I purchase the premium version. Do you guys like the fact that you have to pay a $15 premium to do the more stuff on there?
I don't mind because it's just for me. It's just like I agree that it's a bunch of money to keep all these servers running. Plus, you have Wonder Trades. Like you can have up to 20, like I think 15 Wonder Trades going at one time, and just knowing just to run like even an RS server, it was like what $10 a month, just for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like $10 a month. But imagine that for over 1 million something players. So you're
Like-
basically paying your server space, which
Yeah.
I agree you should.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, do I like it? No. But do I understand the reasoning behind it? Yes. Because like Davis was just saying, you gotta pay for all this somehow. And like, does it suck that it's a subscription? Yeah, of course. Like, if I could just like buy it one and done, that would be fun. But then again, that's like not exactly a sustainable business model for this type of thing. So I understand it, but it's like one of those things where I begrudgingly accept it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like just thinking about it. Like, I'm okay with it too, but you know, thinking back to like the Pokemon Bank, where it's just $5
yeah,
for you to
$5
transfer
isn't the worst.
to transfer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
$5 is a
Yeah.
lot better. Granted, Pokemon Home gives you a lot more,
Yeah,
a lot more stuff to
To
do.
do.
yeah,
However, the stuff that is in Pokemon Home used to be free. Not free, but it used to be included in the games you purchased.
yeah,
So adding $5 to transfer every
Well,
Pokemon into
you also have to-
for Ultra Sun, right? I was able to get all my Pokemon and update it. I was able to like complete like half of my Pokedex because of me transferring Pokemon for Pokemon Bank. But then because I had Pokemon for Pokemon Bank that I can only get from previous versions because I don't like have two of the same
Yeah.
copy,
Yeah.
two different copies, I was able to trade Pokemon to get through the GTS on for the price of paying for the game originally.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily have an issue with $15. I mean, maybe if it was $10, it would be a little more
Reasonable.
reasonable for me. But they probably have some wicked numbers out there. I mean, at least they probably have like wicked stats or whatever that justify the $15 to themselves. But I mean, at least they have a free version.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's nice for people
Yeah.
that just want to like people like me who are like waiting. It's good to still at least be able to get all my Pokemon.
Yeah, and so
from-
basically what you're saying is that here's what you have now, but here's what's better when the expansions come out.
yeah, when the expansion's coming out, I think it's gonna be a lot more worth it. Granted, I'm probably gonna have to spend $20 because I'd have to repay
Yeah, repay for
Yeah.
Pokemon Bank. But you made a good point saying at least you have it for a year. It's like
Yeah.
all your Pokemon will still be in Pokemon Home. They just won't be doing anything. Granted,
Yeah.
they're not doing anything right now.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
In my Ultra Sun.
Yeah, because it's either you have them sit in the box in there, or you sit in the box in Pokemon Bank. It's like
Yeah.
they're sitting in boxes no matter what.
And like depending on how you purchase it, you could justify it like, oh, maybe the reason why I have them in Ultra Sun is because they're in a physical cartridge
Yeah.
versus somebody who may have downloaded it, because there's that whole like debate whether you own a game or not when you download
yeah.
it. But like you could feel that kind of sanctity or
Wait,
you
there's
can
an
be
argument about that?
yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's-
like you're purchasing a license
Since you're purchasing a key
Rather
to
than-
download the game to
Okay.
rather
browse it on
than
your hard
actually
drive.
physically owning like a copy,
I've never heard of that before.
because
It-
like they can stop the service.
Yeah.
for,
Oh,
like,
Because a lot-
that's a
okay.
whole other
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And
But
like
anyways,
recently,
yeah.
Apple has done this before, where like if you bought something that you can't get on the store anymore, they kick you out of your library to make you buy it again. And that happened with some sort of like the Grinch Christmas special or whatever. And then people were just in an uproar like, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
that raises the discussion more of like, do I actually physically own this media? And then you get the whole bits and babbles about piracy and that kind of stuff.
It's a whole other
issue
that is way more complicated than transferring little monsters between
little ones and zeros between
video games.
one game to another.
Hey man, those little monsters have emotional value to me. I have an emotional connection.
I've been playing Pokemon since I was like 6 years old.
Oh yeah. So
I
feel
have
like,
my
I feel like that's just
shiny
a general-
Gyarados from Gen 2. I'll say that at level 100.
I was just speaking of shiny Pokemon that are like old.
Yeah.
Like I saw a video recently where a dude had a 14-year-old cartridge from Fire Red of a Deoxys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And he spent like 2 months like soft resetting to get a legit shiny Deoxys. And I mean that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it was legit 14-year-old Deoxys sitting in this cartridge forever. And then this guy was like, yeah, I'll do it for 2 months. And he live streamed it and it was like cool. I saw a video of it just the other day, and I was like, "That's pretty sick."
Yeah.
I love watching shiny hunts. Shiny hunts are pretty.
I
fun.
feel like if it's shiny hunting, it's fine, but if it's like shiny breeding, it's harder because like especially in Sword and Shield, like you're confined to like the one wild area part. Like with the shiny hunting though, with like you actually going out and trying to like do encounters, that's more fun for me than rather just like cycle around in a circle for a little while, then
I don't mean me doing it. I mean watching somebody else.
Watching someone else.
Even watching somebody else doing the cycling stuff is fun because I at least get to interact with that person through the chat.
What interaction?
Oh my
god!
Hanging out with people online through.
What is this?
Dude.
All right, so
you have online friends?
I think let's go with the delays now. Let's talk about some delays in video games. So to switch gears from Pokemon Home, we're going to just talk about some game delays. Chad here has been working on a video similar to the topic of delay video games, crunch time, if you want to explain a little more.
Yeah, so I'm going to be working on a video after the one I'm working on right now, which is essentially like game developer responsibility, like to what level of responsibility should we be holding these game developers to? And this kind of stemmed from issues with, I think it was Day of Dragons, which only wanted a budget of like maybe $15,000, $20,000.
I know, and I did not follow the Kickstarter or whatever.
I only heard about it until like the end of everything, or like before the release.
It became a shit show.
Yeah, so I got into it before it became like a mess because it got like hundreds, like $100,000+, if I'm remembering correctly, of just like crowdfunding on GoFundMe or whatever the heck it was.
Oh wait, okay. Did it reach the goal?
Yeah, no, it went above the goal.
Yeah, that's
like it went well beyond the goal.
Yeah,
like, it could have like done so much more, but it opted not to. Like it just took
the money and run with it.
Essentially, the game developer took the money, ran with it, and essentially just made a $10,000, $15,000 game, which, like, okay, that's what they were originally setting out to do.
Big bonuses for everyone else.
But the thing is that, like, from what I've seen, the game is pretty much empty. It's, like, almost borderline unplayable. Like, but I have, like, obviously that's caveated with it has had some good reviews. But the other thing is that the game developer will refuse to listen or like interact with any negative critics who like genuinely want to look at this game and be like, hey, here's what's wrong with it, here's how you messed up. He blatantly refused to do any interviews, like if they weren't going to be positive, as far as I could tell. And so like obviously I think that's kind of messed up. I think we can all agree that's pretty messed up, because like if you're getting thousands of people like giving you more money than you originally expected, there's kind of this idea that, hey, we're giving you more because
you expect more.
You expect more, and like you want them to make it as great as it can possibly be, because Day of Dragons could have been absolutely amazing in my opinion, because the game was essentially a dragon survival game.
Do you know how large the studio was?
That is research I should definitely do.
Yeah, so
I think because if it was on GoFundMe, I think it was a very small studio.
Yeah, so my argument, like the devil's argument about that, is that depending how big the studio is, because I currently work with a couple
Right.
of UConn students who
Yeah.
who do indie games.
Yes.
Depending on the size of the studio, it really depends on how much time and what you can really dedicate to.
Right.
I mean, a good example of it is Hello Games.
Exactly.
Like, they made a crappy video game with No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But they took the time to
patch it out.
even with the small group they had,
Yeah.
and they made a game of they got a game award for their most recent update because it was just such a good expansion. It was such a good fix to their
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings up the question, like small indie groups to big corporation, big developers like EA and
Yeah.
all the other, well, those are
EA.
publishers, but like the publishers and the developers all together, is with these delays, is it like a good thing? Is it a bad thing? For me, I think it's a great thing, especially
Yeah.
games like
Final
Cyberpunk,
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, Doom Eternal was one game that was delayed. Animal Crossing was delayed.
Yeah.
Every game that's coming out now
Has
or
been
in
delayed,
March
yeah.
were delayed
Except for
from
Persona
last year.
5.
Persona
Because it's already
Persona
perfect in its
5
own right.
Persona
I mean,
5.
yeah.
It was
Resident
perfection.
Evil. Well, that's the thing. Like the games that are coming out without delays are remasters or re-releases.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
some
they're
sort
kind of just
expansion.
building off of something that was
Yeah,
already
like
there.
Well,
Resident Evil
technically Persona
3.
5 is a expansion.
Yeah, it's an expansion.
yeah.
It has the original content plus more.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with Resident Evil is just building off of the backbone of, or Resident Evil 3 is building off of the backbone of Resident Evil 2,
Yep.
using the same engine, the same map, just adding more things in the
Yeah.
game. So it's
Yeah.
not necessarily doing a lot more work. And then, there's just all these game developers making well, look at that. Let me start over. A lot of people are just making games, right? And they're all being delayed, and it's crazy. Do you guys like that? Like, do you guys appreciate the companies taking the time, saying, you know what, we thought, hey, it was going to come out now, but we can't now. We're going to push it back. Do you like that?
I'm gonna say yes.
I kind of like the argument of I'd rather get it the promise of the day it comes out, but patch it if you need to. Because if, like a lot of times for game development, it's that they just need to patch a couple bugs out, which is fine. But if they're not game-breaking bugs, then you should be able to say, like, yeah, we're sticking to our word, and it's going to be released on this day. Expect a few bugs. Yes, it's a first-day release. Like, obviously, like, not everything's going to be running perfectly. Dragon Ball FighterZ had a couple bugs on the first day with internet connections, but they patched it out. Dragon Ball Kakarot, it had bugs on the first day. They patched it out. First-day patches. Like, there's a lot of these things that are just kind of, like, they try to strive for perfection in the sense that they kind of forget what they want to really kind of make sure it gets done correctly, rather than believing that because I believe if in patches you get less crunch time. Because when you see the reactions from what's going on the internet, blah, 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 you see, okay, this is just from here, here, and here. And then, like, probably like a day one patch or even a week one patch, you can still do a decent amount of work during that time.
So, I don't disagree with that necessarily, but I am going to take a different approach because I do appreciate the fact that in saying, hey, we're going to delay this start for our game, because to me that tells me, hey, we know that this isn't ready. We want it to start out as best as it possibly can, as opposed to like sending it out with bugs and then fixing it afterwards, because it just shows that they care. They just want to put it out in the best possible way that they possibly can. And like, yeah, it probably will still have 1, 2, 3 bugs, maybe more, after delaying it. But like, again, I think it just shows that they care, that they want to give us the absolute best, as like, it's like they want to give us the best possible first impression with the game. And I can appreciate that. I'm not saying that like your approach to it is wrong. I think that's fine. Like, if a good game comes out and they think that they can put it out with a couple bugs and then just patch it instead of delaying it, cool. Why not? I'm fine with that. But I know I keep saying this. I sound like a broken record. I think delaying a game just shows that the developers care. I think that's what it says to me.
It shows to me more than just caring. They want to make a perfect experience for the gamer, especially last year where last year and the year before with Battlefront 2, with especially Anthem, like games that you're paying $60 for, like we as gamers are being very privileged to spend $60. Games deserve to be paid. We deserve to pay more for video games, as much as I hate saying that, which is why we're like riddled with microtransactions and stuff. But like, even still, $60 is a lot of money for people, and to be given a game like extreme example is Anthem, being told here's a game that we thought was ready to brick computers, virtually make PlayStation 4s unplayable, like from not only a AAA publisher, but from a AAA renowned developer who should have learned from their mistakes with Mass Effect Andromeda. Like that was Strike 2. That was Strike 3 technically.
Yeah.
Anthem was their last chance of making
Anything good again?
anything good. Like we're praying that Dragon Age is a great game. Hopefully Dragon Age 4 or whatever it is a good game. But like we're paying a lot of money. So when you say like, oh, even you saying like a couple bugs here, a couple bugs there. Sure, am I asking a lot for perfection? Maybe I am. But video games in the past weren't super buggy where we would notice. Like when I first purchased Halo Reach, I had no issues. The first time I've ever experienced like a crappy game that had issues was Halo Master Chief Collection. That was the first time I ever experienced a game where I was like, this was not worth $60. Like this sucks. Versus the year or two before where I was playing Halo 4 and I had no problems with the online. I had no problems with the campaign. Nothing. I just sat in my room, ate my Halloween candy, and skipped school and played Halo all night.
Seems
And that's
sad,
awesome.
Okay.
It was perfect. I had all my friends online.
Hey, he's happy. That's all that matters.
That's fair.
All my friends were playing. And then same with other games that I'm playing now. Like, I keep always bringing this game up because it was my favorite game from last year. Death Stranding had no issues when I started playing.
Did they delay that one?
No, that game wasn't delayed either.
Wow.
It took forever to make, but they didn't delay it.
Yeah. They set like a far enough goal. That's what I think about also delays too, is that if they delay it, that when times arise, if it's still not done by then, what prevents them from delaying it even more?
So like that's a great example of Square Enix, who does this a lot with their games, where they announce it way in advance. The two biggest examples is Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 15. They announced them around the same time actually, and like it took 10 years for Final Fantasy 15 to come out, and they were going through development hell. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII. They've lost directors and important people. They lost composers and stuff to develop the game, and it took them forever. And thankfully it's coming out now, and we're hoping that with the amount of years it took to make these games, they're good. Final Fantasy 15 is very mixed reviewed. I'm one of the few people that liked Final Fantasy 15.
The first couple of half hour I played it, I think it was pretty fine.
I loved the entire experience, of course, like everybody else.
I think
after
people were
chapter
probably
13,
just be upset about like the combat wise and
like there were and then
It's
even
fair.
chapter 13.
Even chapter 13, yeah.
Chapter 13 felt very rushed. Everything felt rushed at the end. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. Like there are games that were built up really high and they achieved 90%. That 10% is the 10% people remember and ask themselves, why did I pay $60 for?
Yeah.
So games like Cyberpunk, games like Animal Crossing, even games like Metroid Prime 4, which is delayed indefinitely for now. Like I appreciate the companies taking the time saying, you know what, we don't want to make you all feel like you're wasting your $60 on us, because they know that we have other things we can do. Companies are competing for our eyes every day, and to be allowed the chance to say, being able to hear from a developer genuinely saying, you know what, we'd rather make a good experience for you guys rather than you guys hating us is great. And once again, Hello Games is a great example of that, saying we're going to just stop talking to you guys for a month, work on the game, and when you finally hear from us, it's an update that people liked. And they kept doing that. They stopped talking for months on end to just sit down and fix the game. And they fixed it. It took them a whole year to fix it. Is that a good thing? That's up to for debate.
That's subjective.
But they at least tried to make it better, where maybe they should have done that prior. And
Well, I mean, like, I think that just goes back to what I was saying about them just caring. Like, they care that we enjoy the game. They care that the game they're developing is going to be good, is going to be perfect, is going to be something that they are going to be proud of and say, hey, we put our best effort into this. We want you to love it. We want you to enjoy it because we loved making it and we loved, like, developing it. So
yeah. Like, what's that Shigeru Miyamoto quote that always goes around when
Anime
like a
was a
game?
mistake.
No,
That's the other
different
one.
Japanese
Very
man.
different.
It was like he pretty much said like that. I'd rather make a game
That's fun.
than make
Rather
a
than
game
game
that's broken and boring and looks good. Like he'd rather
So every Final Fantasy game ever.
every Final Fantasy game. And you know what? I gotta give the Japanese developers major props because they've been the developers for the most part, especially Square Enix and Nintendo, that are like, we will stop pushing out a game if we feel it doesn't meet our standards, if it like at all. So like, sure, if it takes forever to make. Granted, they don't always follow that. Best example for me is Pokemon Sword and Shield, but they do it for other games that a lot of people enjoy. I appreciate. This is going to be my first Animal Crossing, and I appreciate.
Really?
Yeah, I've never played any Animal Crossing before this, and I
You had a
appreciate-
3DS. You couldn't pick up.
I've never played
New
it
Leaf?
either.
Nah, I've never. I don't really.
I've never
wanna-
played it either.
What's wrong with you two?
It just
This
didn't-
Animal Crossing looks more fun to me because it reminds me of Minecraft. It's a lot more open. It's a lot more free. It's a lot more freedom
I mean,
than the other games.
Well,
that I've
well.
played. But regardless.
Regardless. I'm Peter. I never played an Animal Crossing game in my life.
But regardless, like I appreciate them saying, we want to make a good experience because I guarantee they know this will be a lot of people's first Animal Crossing, and it's a game. It's going to be one of those games this year that is a hardware seller as well. And Nintendo has had a good track record of making their software sell hardware. I did the trailer video a while back on the channel, and I talked about how the Legend of Zelda was a hardware seller.
Which one?
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
well, yeah.
I thought you were talking about that weird E3 trailer we got like a couple years ago.
No. Like the one for the new one, Breath of the Wild 2.
Wait,
Oh,
there's gonna be
that-
a Breath of the Wild too?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
I'm
know.
talking about they had a launch trailer come out like
Announcement trailer.
like a week. No, the
For
trailer I'm
01.
talking about. The trailer I'm talking about came out like a week or two before the release of the Switch, and it really had to push like everything in there. And that's been Nintendo's thing for a couple of years now. Ever since the Switch came out, like we have to sell a game that also sells hardware, and they do a very good job with the trailers.
they also did that with Phantom Hourglass. They did that.
They do it with a lot of all their hardware
yeah.
because they do a lot more first-party development. But overall, I appreciate that Nintendo's like, okay, we want Animal Crossing to not only be a good software seller, but a great hardware seller. So let's make this game perfect, like not near perfect.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, just like
sure
the best
is-
it can possibly be within the time frame that they've given themselves. Yeah.
And I think that kind of leads into, because you were saying that sticking to the schedule reduces crunch.
To reduce the crunch, you do monthly patches because you have to wait to see what's buggy first from players' perspectives, and that's why I think Dragon Ball Kakarot did well in what they did.
I don't know if that's entirely true, because I've seen articles where they talk about massive crunch to the deadline regardless of delay. To wrap up the conversation, delaying sucks, but it's good it's good for the good for the consumer. May not be so good for the developers because it does add crunch and other things, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So to kind of round out the podcast, I think we can talk about just some games we played recently. Anybody play any cool video games?
No, I still need to finish the 2 more routes in Fire Emblem, and then possibly finish the fourth route that the DLC came out with.
3 houses, right?
Yeah, because they came out with the
Wait,
Ashen
it has
Wolves
4
deal.
routes?
Ashen Wolves is like its own separate DLC where it's
Okay.
like you have to finish it before the end of the first part of the game.
I mean, like, I don't know much about Fire Emblem in general. All I
Yeah,
know
so
is that-
basically,
all I know is that
a lot of
there's
Fire
usually
Emblem
3
games are split up
routes.
between like a 2-act kind of thing where it's
Yeah.
like first act, time skip, then second act.
Okay.
Chad, any games you've been playing?
So I have been playing Legends of Runeterra, which is like League of Legends plus Hearthstone, which is the video I'm gonna do, or the review I'm gonna do a video for, and it's fun. It's just very clunky. Like if I'm gonna be playing an online card game, I'd rather be playing like Hearthstone or Magic
Yu-Gi-Oh.
the Gathering. You and your
Watch the
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! review.
on
Yes.
our channel. First review.
Me and Dylan want to do a like an actual TCG because I think there's a big enough audience like on our campus to, like do TCG kind of videos too.
Wait, do what?
Like a TCG.
He wants to do a
video,
TCG
like
tournament type
Oh.
of thing.
Yeah, I think that'd
Like
be kind of
a
fun.
live action one?
Yeah, because
That's-
like we
that's
don't.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, like a physical one, like
Yeah,
with
'cause-
actual cards, or like
Yeah.
with the I
Yeah,
don't know.
isn't that like cross with the board game club or whatever? There's a
Gamers
Or-
Guild. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they
don't-
just play Magic.
They
or-
play a lot of
Gamers
Magic.
Guild does not do Yu-Gi-Oh at all.
We'll find people. We'll find people.
Zero.
I know there's people on
Only
campus that
Magic.
play.
You mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh, they laugh at you.
But then-
I'm not even kidding. Really happy.
Oh, man.
Did you go to?
there's
game-
there's an
Are you
elitist
sure?
over there.
There- okay,
you,
there
you
is-
play
Listen,
Magic,
well,
all right,
then
honest.
you play Gwen, then you play Gwen.
Next time on the podcast, join us next time for the hierarchy of nerds. There you go.
Hierarchy of TCG games.
Yeah, I've been. That's cool. We should do that.
Yeah,
actually, though.
It'd be a lot of fun.
That
That'd
would
be really fun.
Hierarchy of nerds.
No, not the hierarchy
You
of nerds.
nerds.
Like, actually, like play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Do something like fun, like that live action kind of
I
stuff.
haven't touched Yu-Gi-Oh and God
We'll teach you.
knows
We'll teach you.
It'll be like a fun experience.
Because
to
I know
record and teach
that like there's
people.
some new Link shenanigans.
Yeah, we'll
going
play the
on.
new master rule, which is we don't need to do links for if you want to
Okay.
get back into it, which is I think it's a better rule.
I don't even know if I have cards.
Well, I have tons of cards.
Okay.
I can loan you a deck.
We'll
Alright.
just
Don't worry.
borrow
Cool, cool,
decks.
cool, cool.
The game that I've been playing recently, I just bought the Game Pass on Xbox
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
for $1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, first off, $1 for 3 months to play 250 plus games is kind of worth it.
Do you have to
Um,
download that to your computer, or is it streaming?
You have to it's downloaded, so it's
Okay.
you don't have to worry about lag or anything.
Yeah.
You pretty much download the game and you play it for 3 months. So
Well,
I've been
no.
playing. You could play any game for 3 months. So I have on my catalog right now Gears of War 5, Gears of War 4. I have Ori.
Wait,
and the Blind
is it
Forest.
just called Gears 5? I don't think
Yeah, it's called
they
Gears 5.
took out a war for some reason.
But
That's weird, but
I've been
okay.
playing a lot of Bloodstained. I've been really wanting to play this game, Bloodstained, for a long time.
Bloodstain. What
It is
that?
pretty much a revival of the Castlevania
Oh yeah.
Yo.
The-
mindset,
I know
and it's
that,
got the
it's-
music is
it's a
amazing.
Metrovania kind of.
I know
It's
the
a
Netflix
Metroidvania,
series
but
is
it's
coming out
so-
with season 3.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like they really play on the fact that this game is pretty
Metroidvania.
much a ripoff
of Castlevania.
Of one of the last Castlevania games that was
Symphony
on
of
the
the Night?
PlayStation. That was like not on the PlayStation, on like the Game Boy,
Symphony
where
of the Night, I
like
think.
Oh, it was on the Game Boy? Oh.
or DS or something,
Whatever.
where
Symphony of
it
the
was
Night.
based off of not Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night was with Alucard. It was set in like 2015 or something. It was like Alucard was some sort of like Japanese conglomerate dude who would fight vampires in the 21st century. It was pretty sick, but it's pretty much played off a similar kind of tone where there's these two characters that used to
Bloodline
be,
battle.
they used they're
Yeah,
like
they-
brother and sister, but like they're connected through experimentation that humans did on them. So now they have like these awesome vampire powers.
I'm getting
and,
some
like,
weird JoJo's vibes off
It
of
is
this.
so good. It is so good. JoJo.
I reject
that's
my
the whole thing.
humanity,
But
Chad.
Bloodstained, I recommend it. It is such a fun game. It is very difficult too. It really
Really?
makes you.
Like Dark Souls difficult?
It's like Castlevania difficult.
Oh.
Like that's really hard. It's like old Castlevania difficult. Like, and I enjoy it. And it's making me want to go back and like download an emulator and play Symphony of the Night again.
Whoa!
Because
What?
Symphony of the
Game
Night-
piracy, Peter?
How dare
I
you?
thought you support the industry.
You wouldn't
cut
steal
the stream.
You wouldn't steal a
Cut
car,
the
would
stream.
you? You wouldn't steal a car, would you?
In Grand Theft Auto, I would.
And with that,
Okay.
Davis, if you want to.
Yep. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the UCGC podcast. So.
Bye.
Bye.